Okay, I know you seen the warning label. Be prepared. I got my Mary J. Blige Not Gonna Cry glasses, because I might cry. I got my handy dandy Bible, because it spoke to me before I made this video. So, I know everybody is wondering. Shit. I even wondered a couple times. But I have to trust in myself and trust in the Lord and know that everything will be okay, because I prayed to get to where I am. So, with no further ado, is that what they say? I think that's what they say. So, let me start from the bottom to the top. So, basically, growing up, I was always the person who wanted to do, I guess you can say, less for more or less with more. I never really liked listening to other people or taking direction. I know that sounds bad, but I always just wanted to go straight to being the boss, or straight to the top, or straight to avoid all of the. It's so, I'm so full of words that it's just so hard to explain. But I never was really like. I'm not gonna say I never was a worker, because I've always worked since I was 12 or 13, I believe I had my first job. And shit, even that I got fired from, because for me, I feel like certain things doesn't make sense. I'm not a go with the flow kind of person. If you want to say that, I'm really not a go with the flow type of person. So when things don't make sense to me, I kind of object. And I've always been that person. If it doesn't make sense, then I'm not for it, or I'm not going with the flow. It's just not something that I'm going to do. So I think starting that was, oh my God, all that time with no light. Anyway, I think starting off, that was always a big issue for me, because when you work for somebody else, you have to be able to take leadership, and you have to be able to kind of go with the flow, and I'm not really that type of person. So that was, I'm not gonna call it a character flaw, because it led me to taking the leap that I took ultimately, but for other people, they would call that a character flaw. So that was one thing. Another thing was growing up, like, so in high school, when everybody's like, oh my God, I'm going to college, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and everybody's like, so what are you going to do? And I was always driven by the wrong thing, of course, money. So I'm like, I'm going to go wherever the money is. So at that time, it was nursing. Number one, I already knew I didn't want to go to college, because the foundation that was laid for me, my mom didn't go to college, and if she did, she didn't stay. And I don't believe my dad went to college either. So there wasn't like, and that's not an excuse, because I don't lay on excuses, but that just didn't really set a premise for me to want to, do those things. And on top of that, like I said, I've always worked. So I knew if I went to college, I couldn't keep working. And I knew that if I couldn't provide the things that I wanted for myself working, because I would be stuck on a college campus. Everybody talked about these campus jobs and things like that, but they would tell me how much they made, and it would go to this and it would go to that, and I was like, first and foremost, I didn't want to go to school and be stuck because my mom didn't pay something, or my dad didn't pay something, or I wasn't able to pay something for myself, because again, I was really used to doing everything by myself. So going away to college, it was like, no. So I was like, I'll do community, and I want to be a nurse, because nurses make buku cash. This is what they taught us. This is our way of thinking. Our way of thinking is, we're going to go where the money is, or we're going to go to what is prominent that everybody is doing, because this was, the generation that I was growing up in, because it made sense to get a job that makes money or go to somewhere or field that makes money. Also, this has stuck with me since I was a young girl, that you have to go to a field of work that is needed, that will not be diminished or canceled out because it's in high demand. So, automatically, I went to nursing. So, I went about 2 years, took all my prerequisites. Math, honey. Math is not my honey, okay? It is not. So, math was an issue for me. Then, I went to anatomy and physiology. Honey, I just want to say, you nurses, y'all got that. Because anatomy and physiology, you know what? Anatomy and physiology, the concept of it was not hard. But I was going to CCP at a time where they were getting, I think it was Camden County teachers, and integrating them with the CCP teachers. So this teacher that I had was just a dickhead. And his tests were crazy. And I at a point I just stopped going. Honestly, I just stopped going. It just was ridiculous. The whole learning the body was very interesting, and dissecting frogs and dissecting pigs and all that stuff. It was interesting, but the test part, and that was always a big issue for me, was the test part. So I said to nursing, and another field that was like, oh my God, it just won't go away because everybody will always need it, was childcare. So I switched to early childhood education, and as I switched to early childhood education, that's when I started working in daycares, and I started working with kids. Now, mind you, I am the oldest of 3 girls, including me, and then I have brothers as well, and I'm the oldest as well. But I've always been the caretaker for my sisters. So naturally, I don't know why, and I feel like back then too, you didn't really follow what you loved. You kind of did what you were told, or you kind of went with what everybody else felt like was good for you. And I struggled with that for a long time, trying to figure out what was good for me while hearing everybody else, if you know, family, friends, everybody else in the background, and telling me what I should be doing, and where you know, this is what, you know, it was just a lot. So I dealt with that for a very long time, and but while in childcare, I just loved it. I learned a lot. I learned families. I learned kids. And it was crazy because at that time, going to early childhood classes, that's when I was pregnant with Riley. So I was learning ultimately how to be a mom, because nobody teaches you how to do that either. But we'll have a video on that as well. But I was just learning so much, and I loved it. Psychology, I loved. And when I was doing nursing, I was doing a minor in psychology as well. But psychology, sociology, I just loved learning people. I loved learning the kids. I loved learning people from adolescent to adults. I just loved learning people. So, again, I struggled for a very long time. I struggled for a very long time trying to figure out where I fit into everybody else's plan for me. So I was doing early childhood education. Then after I had Riley, things got a little rough. So I took a break, and I went back because I'm like, oh, you know, everybody tells you, oh, you want to have a degree, you want to have a degree, you want to have a degree, you want to have a degree. So I'm like, I have to have this degree to prove to my child that I can do it. Okay. Never went back. So, next step, everybody tells you, oh, just get a good job. And what the hell is a good job? That's number one. But me, not knowing and thinking that I was doing the right thing, because my mom worked for the government for ever since I can remember. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get this good government job, and I'm going to be very excited, and this is going to be it. But also in the back of my head as well, because I was still doing daycares and different things, working with kids. So in the back of my head, I'm going to start this job. And I've always been a planner. So in my head, I was saying, I'm going to start this job. I'm going to work here for 2 years. And after 2 years, I'm going to open up my daycare. Because at the end of the day, I always wanted something for I wanted my own. I still never wanted to work for anybody, which confused me because, again, it was a lot of people saying, and there wasn't really a lot of entrepreneurs around me. At one point, my aunt and my uncle had a restaurant, and I even worked there. And that kind of showed me that I could have something of my own. And even the daycares that I worked for, they were owned by black women or black families. So that kind of gave me like, oh, I can do this. So, but still being taught, you get a good job, you do this, you do that. So I was just going through the motions of still trying to figure out who I was. So I got this good job. Now, mind you, I waited for this job because I thought this job was going to be the best thing. And for a while, it was. And that's why leaving was, oh, see, glasses. That's why leaving was hard, because I'm not going to say it was harder than staying, because I was ready.